I'm honored to make a presentation on the Early Childhood Voices 2022 conference. It's my pleasure to share with you our research. The title of my research is How Does the Home Language Environment Affect 4 to 6 years old children's capacity of reading comprehension? My name is Wang Daoyue. My supervisor is Linhui. We are from College of Early Childhood Education, Shanghai Normal University, from China. Under the instruction of my supervisor, I finished my paper. At first, please allow me to introduce some background information about my research. Comprehension is the purpose and one of the core ability of reading. Most studies in the field of reading comprehension focused on school-age children. Thus, little about preschool children's reading comprehension development was known by now. There were a few studies examining children's understanding of stories' plots through the story retelling. However, few conclusions were made on children's reading comprehension in different depths based on the theory of meaning making. The aim of the study is to explore the developmental characteristics of 4 to 6 years old children's reading comprehension, to investigate the influence of home language environment factors on children's capacity of reading comprehension. The method I used including the following: participants and instruments. The subjects of this study were 235 children aged 4 to 6 years from 5 kindergartens in different districts of Shanghai. After obtaining the permission of parents, children's capacity of reading comprehension was assessed, and the home language environment questionnaire was distributed to parents. Finally, 235 children's reading comprehension data and 199 valid questionnaires were obtained. Here are the results of my study. Development status of reading comprehension ability of children aged 4 to 6 years, as is figure 1 showed. The overall level of children's capacity of reading comprehension and the level of it at all levels were not high. Secondly, the scoring rates of children in each level of children's capacity of reading comprehension from high to low were children's capacity of literal information recognition, integrative inference, and plot inference. Thirdly, children's capacity of literal information recognition was significantly higher than that of plot inference and integrative inference, and children's capacity of integrative inference was significantly higher than that of plot inference. As is table 1 showed, children's reading comprehension scores increased significantly with age. Multiple comprehension of the post hoc test shows that there was significant difference in the total score and the scores of each literal information recognition among children aged 4, 5, and 6 years. The scores of literal information recognition and integrative information of 5 and 6-year-old children were significantly higher than those of 4-year-old children. The current situation of children's home language environment. Most families with young children has 11 to 50 or 51 to 100 parent books and 11 to 20 or 21 to 50 toddler books. Most families have 1 to 4 pieces of language learning software and audio toys. In terms of frequency and duration of reading, children are slightly better than their parents. Most parents read 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 times per week, and their reading times was 0.5 to 1 hour or less than half an hour per week. In terms of the frequency and duration of use the teaching toys, families of young children are more likely to use audio toys. From the frequency and the duration of parent-child shared reading and interaction, most families will carry out parent-child shared reading and interaction, and parent-child interaction is relatively frequent. To explore the influence of home language environment factors on children's capacity of reading comprehension development, we performed regression analysis on the relevant data, as is the table 2 shows. The number of language learning software was a significant predictor variable for children's capacity of literal information recognition, which could effectively explain 2.8% of its score variation. The frequency of the phonetic toys was a significant predictor of children's capacity of plot inference, which could effectively explain 3.3% of its score variation. Family socio-economic status and parent-child interaction time were significant predictors of children's capacity of integrative inference, which could effectively explain 8.6% of the variation in scores. The frequency of language learning software use was a significant predictor of oral reading comprehension, which could effectively explain 3.6% of the variation in its score. At last, I should give my conclusions. First, overall, children's capacity of reading comprehension was limited and with dramatic individual differences. Children did better on literal information recognition and plot inference and integrative inference. Children's capacity of literal information recognition, plot inference, and integrative inference developed with a different speed in the 2 years. SES and the number of language learning software as structural factors of HLE, and the utilization frequency of language learning software and audio toys, and the duration of parents-child interaction as a procedure factors of HLE and had a significant impact on children's reading comprehension development. According to my conclusions, there are some implications for children and families. First, to evoke children's meaning making during family activities. For instance, providing ample reading materials involving into shared reading and talking and interacting with children. Second, to improve the quality of parent-child interaction during shared reading. For instance, ask in-depth questions according to the characteristics of children's reading comprehension development, responding to children's specific to their language and behavioral reactions, expanding children's expressions, and asking questions stimulating children's higher order thinking. Also, there are some implications for practitioners to inspire children's understanding of the theme of the story, plot prediction, and comprehensive evaluation of the content of the story reading activities. For instance, guiding children to understand the causal relationship in the story, supporting children to use higher order thinking to construct meaning in reading through questions, mind mapping, and performance. Second, to provide reading materials and reading support according to the age characteristics of children's reading comprehension development. For instance, for children aged 4, picture books with simple pictures and concentrated plots can be selected as reading materials. For children aged 5, picture books with rich plots and words supplemented by pictures can be selected as reading materials. For children aged 6, picture books with rich pictures, changes in plots, and more diverse relationships between pictures and words can be selected as reading materials. That's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.